I remember being 10 years old, growing up right here in Bend, Oregon, when my dad dropped me off for the first day of baseball practice on an all-boys team. And you know those icy, cold days where your skin is being bit by the wind? There's not a drop of blue sky or yellow sun anywhere. When you can feel the crunch of the grass beneath your feet. You know those days when you're the only girl on the field, on the court, or in medical school, or in the boardroom? This was one of those days. So, shivering cold, my dad walks me up to the coach to introduce me. The coach gives me one look, and he's like, "This is a girl. Like, what is she doing with all these boys out here?" So he quickly shuffled me to the sideline where I would wait and watch and watch and watch, even though I was like giving him the stare, like, "Put me in, like I can do this, I've got muscle too." I remember that practice, that baseball practice, so significantly because I waited there on the sidelines with my thin, long sleeve shirt. I was my stone cold fingers for nearly 2 hours before he put me on the field. And it was a suffering like my 10-year-old self had never felt. I wanted to play so bad. I felt tears of frustration welling up in my eyes, but I'm like, a girl doesn't cry. No, girls can't cry. But I made up my mind right then and there that I was going to prove my way onto any field in life. That I wouldn't allow any coach in sports or education or my career to put me on the sidelines. I entered myself in every competition I possibly could: punt, pass, and kick, basketball, baseball, taekwondo. I used my sister as a punching bag so I could learn how to box. I even tried to sneak my way onto the middle school football team, and my parents were like, not having it. Like, not happening. It was the one thing they wouldn't let me do. But I would practice before school, I would practice at lunch, I would practice after school, I would practice up until dark, I would practice after dark. My mom would be like, "Come in the house." Hey, Mom. Anyway, I even signed up for orchestra class because I knew it was my best chance of sneaking out to practice my basketball shot. Mr. and Mrs. Scott, I'm so sorry, but I knew I wouldn't be as good as Riley, so. But the point was, I became compulsive about pushing the limits, and I was so determined to become the best at something. I was relentless in pursuit of my dreams. I learned that being a girl would drive me to the biggest heights I could ever imagine. I learned that nobody could believe in me, except maybe my parents, like I could. And eventually, that belief drove me to become an elite athlete and to travel the country and the world participating in sports, and eventually earn a full-ride scholarship to compete and study at the highest level. You see, the point is that I believe the single most important factor in my success and in the success of girls and women around the globe is developing the confidence that we can be anything, no matter our gender, that we are capable, so utterly capable of changing the world, and that we and that we should encourage girls locally, like crazy, and around the globe, in any community that we're in, to be and do anything that they imagine. Anything. If it's a rocket scientist, if it's a doctor, if it's a lawyer, if it's a healer, if it's a race car driver, if it's a guitar player, if it's a photographer at the age of 14, like Lexi Potts, who's about to come up here and blow your mind again. She's so amazing. You guys are in for such a treat. So these early years really shaped me into the person that I would eventually become. When my focus shifted away from sports to being an impact player in the real world. So similar to the ways that I was told I couldn't play certain sports when I was attempting to double and triple major in subjects like linguistics and religious studies, people thought that wouldn't get me anywhere. Or when I pursued a master's degree in education instead of business, I was told that wouldn't get me anywhere. Or, you know, when I decided to go teach in some of the poorest schools in the country, I was told I couldn't really, truly make a difference. When I decided to give up a second master's degree program and go across the country to pursue a career in corporate finance, I was told I was crazy. When I became director of finance of a global nonprofit at 25, people told me I didn't have enough experience. And then, when I told people I was going to leave my job as the director of finance of a global nonprofit to start a kale chip company, people looked at me straight crazy. They were trying to send me to Mali right then. People also told me things like I shouldn't get tattoos or cut my hair short, or I needed to dress more feminine or wear more makeup, because those were the things that would get me what I really wanted. And none of that was actually bad advice. It just wasn't the voice of my dreams and my vision. And I had this insatiable desire to become me, this unshakable belief that I could actually pull that off. When I look back and I connect the dots, I see how each experience was just me listening to my heart's calling. That I needed each and every experience to learn what was necessary on the next steps in my journey. Had I not left corporate finance for nonprofit finance, there's no way I would have had the hands-on experience to know how to run a business. Had I not been a part of an organization that showed every day that you can change the world, I wouldn't have translated that into my for-profit business to make that same impact. So listen to your heart. Believe it, feel it, chase it. This leads me to my second point, which is and has been such an important lesson to me since starting my business. That is, when you are on the path to pursuing your dreams, on the path to becoming you, you will face obstacles and trials and failures. You will fail. I do every day. I do more than anybody in this room on a daily basis, I guarantee it. But really, those obstacles and those trials have proven as pivotal moments in my career and in my personal growth. So we have to transform our thinking and to see these things as our best friends, as these trials and obstacles as our best friends, as our greatest teachers on the path to really navigating life and to becoming successful. Take, for example, my entrepreneurial journey. I went on a walk one day at lunch, and I tried a bag of kale chips, and I thought, what a brilliant idea. This has to be the holy grail of food. So I literally ran back to my office, like sprinting back to my office, like, oh, sat down at my computer, State of Oregon business registration, and founded a kale chip company. Never having made a kale chip in my life. What was I thinking? Oh my goodness. So pennies in the bank, a couple credit cards, my garage converted into a kale chip factory. I thought, I'm going to take over the world. This is incredible. Day one, I'm going to be in every major and independent. Every coffee shop's going to want this. Everybody on the side of the street's going to be walking around with my kale chips. It didn't happen. But you better pick some up today. So 3 months from that initial idea, with basic packaging and 3 very simple flavors, I rushed into the local marketplaces, and I was like, here you go. And every single store told me, oh, you're 2 weeks late. There are 2 other local kale chip companies that just started, and they just took over the very limited space that was available on the shelves. So I was like, wow, Sarah, great market research. Lesson number 1. Holy cow. I still can't believe it. Anyway, so right then and there, we could have folded the cards because we had great, well-paying jobs and security. To be able to prove that this product could make it just got 1,000 times harder. There was really no chance of us making it whatsoever. And in fact, we didn't know, again, anything about manufacturing. We didn't really know how much we didn't know. Had we known, we wouldn't have done the dang thing. This was the first and actually quite small test we would face en route to building a multi-million-dollar company in just 3 years. It meant convincing every single individual buyer in every single store that we were worth a chance. It meant weeks and sometimes months without pay. It meant times where not one order would come in through the door in spite of our best efforts to collect them. It meant being strapped for cash. It meant having no capital for expansion. It meant being exhausted 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no vacation, no social life, no local beer. And you can imagine how hard that would be. But again, we had a choice to fold or to push forward, even if it was like climbing Mount Everest without a Sherpa. Embracing the obstacles and being willing to fail, we learned that we could outsmart and out-hustle our competition. We learned that we actually were relentless, that accepting no was simply not acceptable. We became master converters of yes. We learned that appreciation of and service to others was the foundation from which all of our business decisions, big and small, would be made. We learned how far believing in ourselves would help push us through the obstacles, because at 3 a.m., when everybody else in the world was sleeping, including our competitors, we were compelled to rise to out-hustle them. At our core, we believed we could change the world. Instead of being purely profit-focused, we decided to create a business that was driven to promote and to create positive social and environmental change, starting with taking care of our people. We applied this conscious awareness to every single aspect of our business, from our employees to our customers to our community to our environment. And it made waking up at 3 a.m. so much easier, because we weren't just going out to create a kale chip. We were out to give the world something that benefited it. And every single day, at the end of the day, we looked at ourselves in the mirror and we said, did we get better than yesterday? Can we get better tomorrow? Can we be better than we ever thought we could be? Did we do one small thing, anything at all, even a kind word, that made this world a better place? This meant things like paying every single employee above living standard wages and 100% paid benefits. It meant sourcing 80% of our ingredients from local and organic farms. It meant striving not to waste even a single drop of our natural resources so as to protect our environment and our planet. And it means donating a percentage of our profits and our time to local charitable organizations. You can change the world. You just have to believe it. In many ways, people see our quick rise and expansion as an incredible success story. But for us, it feels like quite the opposite. As daily, I face things about myself, about my leadership style, about my business decisions, about the market changes that aren't pretty. In fact, the more we push, the more significant and difficult our challenges have become. The more I have to face myself in the mirror and really choose to continue believing in myself and in this crazy dream. This story is no different than yours. We're all entrepreneurs creating the life that we most dream of. And so I will end this by saying that I really encourage you to listen to your heart, to listen to this crazy yearning that is only yours. It's only your voice. And to know that inevitably there will be these crazy waves that come, and to not see them as deterrents from getting on that field, but seeing them as the means of actually landing there and competing and playing. So I just want to thank you all for your time and for being here, and that's it.